Welcome to another episode of Ripoff or Not, where you get to decide whether or not something is or isn't a ripoff. Today we are going to look at one of my favorite shows, Supernatural, and how it compares to an older franchise and one of my favorite animes called Saint Seiya, or more recently its other title, The Knights of the Zodiac. I'm going to start this video right off by telling you right now that I do not think Supernatural is actually a ripoff of Saint Seiya. The shows are too radically different. However, I think there are some pretty glaring similarities that make me believe that, at the very least, Eric Kripke may have been inspired by Saint Seiya. For the record, this comparison is only about the original 5 seasons of Supernatural. The original plan was to have the series end after season 5 with a definitive ending, but the characters proved to be way too popular, and it went on to last another 10 years, totaling in 15 seasons, as well as a shortly lived spin-off series, an anime series, comic books, and novels. Now, for those that don't know, Supernatural is about these two brothers, Sam and Dean. They are known as hunters, but they're hunters who only hunt supernatural monsters. They help people by killing any monsters that would hurt or kill anyone. And throughout the series, they have hunted everything from werewolves, vampires, and witches, to demons, ghosts, evil leprechauns, and even gods. Saint Seiya, on the other hand, is a Japanese manga and anime series. It is about warriors who become saints or knights of Athena, the goddess of war and wisdom. Each saint is born under a star constellation and uses a powerful force known as cosmo energy to achieve impossible feats. They wear armor that resemble their star constellations and become essentially superheroes that protect humanity and serve Athena in her battle against evil gods that would kill or enslave all of humanity. Now, right off the bat, these two shows sound pretty different, right? So what similarities am I talking about that would lead me to believe that Saint Seiya influenced Supernatural in any way? Well, let's start with the character dynamics. Brothers Sam and Dean versus brothers Andromeda Shun and Phoenix Ikki. In Supernatural, Sam and Dean are the main characters. Sam, or Sammy, is the little brother. He is a reluctant warrior. He initially has no interest in following in his father or his brother's footsteps. He doesn't care for hunting or that lifestyle and thinks there's more to life than just that. He tries to go to college to pursue a real career. He doesn't agree with his brother Dean's lifestyle, but he still does look up to him. Dean, the older brother, is rougher around the edges by far. He's the man's man, the badass of the two, and much more macho than Sammy. He has spent his entire life looking over Sammy and protecting him from as much as possible. When Sammy was killed, Dean even made a deal with a crossroads demon where he would sacrifice himself in order to bring Sammy back. Then he went to hell for it and was tortured before eventually being brought back to life. Now, if you look at Saint Seiya, or the Knights of the Zodiac, there are actually 4 main characters: Pegasus Seiya, Dragon Shiryu, Cygnus Hyoga, and Andromeda Shun. But if you look at Andromeda Shun and the dynamic he has with his brother Phoenix Ikki, it is very similar to Dean and Sammy. Andromeda Shun is an effeminate male. He is a pacifist who hates fighting. Like Sammy, he fights only because he is forced to. Even though he does not agree with many of the decisions of his older brother Phoenix Ikki, he still greatly admires him. Phoenix Ikki, like Dean, is the older brother, and like Dean, he has seen the darker side of reality much more so than his little brother. And like Dean, Ikki is more the man's man. Ikki spent his entire life protecting Shun and was a badass fighter even before mastering Cosmo or acquiring his armor. Like Dean, Ikki would sacrifice himself in a heartbeat to save Shun. When Shun is selected to go to the horrific Death Queen Island for training, Ikki volunteers to go in his place to protect him. On Death Queen Island, Ikki gets tortured and beaten nearly to death every day for years before finally gaining the Phoenix armor and becoming the Phoenix Saint. Once he becomes the Phoenix Saint, he becomes practically immortal like the Bird of Myth. When he gets killed and returns, he basically tells his enemies that he's been kicked out of hell more times than he can count. Now, maybe you might be thinking, 2 brothers caring for each other, that's a pretty weak comparison. But the dynamic and the characterizations are very similar between the two, but the similarities don't stop there. Prophecy. Now, the big difference between Supernatural and Saint Seiya is that Supernatural uses Christian religion as its backdrop, while Saint Seiya utilizes Greek mythology. But prophecy plays a large part in both stories. In Supernatural, they rely on the Book of Revelations, which prophesies the end of humanity brought on by Satan in the apocalypse. The 4 horsemen would lead the way for Satan to begin the apocalypse and ultimately the final battle between Satan and the Archangel Michael. Saint Seiya relies on Greek mythology, and the prophecy is the Battle of the Gods, where it pits the goddess Athena, who happens to be the goddess of war and wisdom, against other Greek gods, with the final war being against Hades, Greek mythology's version of Satan. And similar to the Four Horsemen, in Saint Seiya you get the three judges, Rhadamanthus, Aikos, and Minos. Now, in Saint Seiya, the prophecy says Athena will be reborn and a battle of gods will ignite when the other gods awaken, and Hades would bring about the end of humanity with the greatest eclipse rather than the apocalypse. To be fair, the prophecy in Saint Seiya is completely fiction. There is no such prophecy in Greek mythology. If Eric Kripke was inspired at all by Saint Seiya and thought the whole entire prophecy idea was a good one, why reinvent the wheel when your backdrop's already Christianity anyway? Just take the existing prophecy from the book of Revelations in the Bible, and it works perfectly. Vessels. In Supernatural, demons and angels can possess people and take over their bodies. Angels require specific, specially chosen people. Anyone other than their chosen vessel would deteriorate and even explode. In Saint Seiya, the awakening gods choose vessels before carrying out their agendas. For instance, the spirit of Poseidon selects Julian Solo as his vessel, and he possesses his body regardless of what Solo has to say about it. However, Athena chooses her connection to be more symbiotic and is born into her role each time. When Supernatural begins, Dean is just a kid and Sammy is just a baby. One night, their mother finds the demon Yellow Eyes visiting Sammy's crib. Sammy is unhurt, but his mother is killed and their house is burned to the ground. We learn later in the series, but within the original 5 seasons, that Yellow Eyes wasn't just picking some random house. Yellow Eyes knew Sammy was born to be the vessel of the fallen angel Satan himself. Satan's spirit was destined to one day possess Sammy's body and be used to cause the apocalypse and destroy humanity. But before that ever happened in Supernatural, something very similar occurred in Saint Seiya. In Saint Seiya, we learn that Shun is the chosen vessel of Hades, the god of the underworld, and essentially the Greek myth version of Satan. When the time is right, Hades' soul would one day possess Shun's body, and he would use that body to cause the great eclipse and destroy all of humanity. Once humanity was dead, he would then rule over all the spirits in the underworld. And like Sammy, Shun was also visited by the forces of evil when he was just a baby. Shun was visited by Pandora, an evil young girl who just happened to be Hades' right hand on Earth. She knew Shun's destiny as Hades' vessel. She tried to take Shun as a baby, but was intercepted by a young Iki. Iki would not allow her to take the baby under any circumstances. Pandora saw how strong and determined Iki was, and that he loved Shun so much he would never let anything harm him. Pandora actually saw this as an opportunity. Since Shun wasn't ready yet anyway, and Hades hadn't yet returned, she chose to let Iki keep Shun until the time was right, knowing he would protect him. In the meantime, she would prepare for the time when Hades would return. Possession. Eventually, in both Supernatural and Saint Seiya, the chosen vessels are in fact possessed and taken over by the spirit of the most absolute evil in the universe.
Yes. Sammy's long gone. I told you. This would always happen in Detroit.
間違いない。しかし、あのお方の肉体がセイントであるアンドロメダであったとは。
そうさ。本当なら戦いなんてしたくないと思っている心優しいやつなんだ。なあ、そうだろ、シュン。シュン。
近づくでない。敵対するセイントの分際で世の体に触れようとは。
シュン。
ラダマンティス。
ハーデス様。
ハーデス。ハーデスだって。バカな。シュンがまさかそんなことがあるわけないだろ。
Evil Sammy and Evil Shun then give their speeches about the situation to their older brothers.
Pardon?
You better kill me now, or I swear I will find a way to kill you. And I won't stop.
I know you won't. I know you won't say yes to Michael either. And I know you won't kill Sam. Whatever you do, you will always end up here. Whatever choices you make, whatever details you alter, we will always end up here. I win. So I win.
地上は間もなく闇となる。二度と太陽の光が差すことはなくなるのだ。
なんだと。バカな。それはどういうことだ。
地上はそのまま死の世界、世の支配する冥界になるのだ。もはやアテナにも手は出せぬ。グレイテストエクリプスはもう目前に迫っている。フェニックスよ、これ以上無益な血を流すでない。せめて安らかに死を待つがよい。
ハーデス、お前の命を絶ってな。
愚かな。神である世の命など取れるか。世を攻撃すればお前の弟の肉体を傷つけるだけだと何度言えばわかる。フェニックス、お前はアンドロメダをその手で殺すつもりか。
Their possessions lead to conflict with their older brothers, but it is their brotherly love and bond that helps them both gain a moment of clarity. Shun and Sammy manage to temporarily take control of their bodies again and are ready to sacrifice themselves to stop the ultimate evil. This moment allows Sammy to throw down a ring that opens a portal to hell, in which he throws himself into it. Shun's moment allows Iki to see that Shun is willing to sacrifice himself to save the world.
何？手が勝手に。ハーデス様！この肉体が世の精神を完全に無視して世に攻撃を加えるとは。これは。
シュンの魂が見える。
兄さん今だよ。ハーデスを倒すチャンスは今しかない。さあ僕に構わず僕の体ごとハーデスの魂を打ち砕いて。
Phoenix Iki respects that wish and strikes at Shun to kill them both.
地上の人々の平和のために。
よく言ったぞシュン。それでこそこの一騎の弟だ。アテナと共に地上を守るアテナのセイントだ。シン、お前の命地上を救うためにもらったぞ。
バカやめろ一騎。
シン、
兄さん。
シュンよ。許せ、シュン。
これで。
In both shows, one of the brothers remembers their time together growing up in a flashback before the end.
シュン。
兄さん。
どうした？だらしないぞシュン。
でも。
いいかシュン、どんなことがあってもくじけるんじゃないぞ。どんな試練をも乗り越えて必ず日本に帰ってこい。
生きて再び兄さんと会える日を楽しみにしています。
シュン。
兄さん、僕を撃って地 地上の人々の平和のために。
Other similarities. The pendant. In Supernatural, Dean always wears a pendant that was given to him from Sammy when they were just children. It becomes a very valuable keepsake for Dean. Later, Castiel talks about the power of Dean's pendant and that it is supposed to glow when near God. In Saint Seiya, Shun has a pendant he has worn since he was just a baby. Ikki always believed it was a gift from their mother. In reality, it was Pandora that gave it to him to bind Hades' soul to Shun's body. The seals. In Supernatural, there are 66 seals that are broken, each one releasing more and more demons until the final seal is broken, which releases Satan or Lucifer himself. In Saint Seiya, it was Athena's seals that imprisoned Hades 243 years ago. When her seal is broken today, Hades and his 108 specters escape. Timing. The first episode of Supernatural came out in September 2005. The animated version of Saint Seiya came out in 1986, but the Hades chapter didn't come out until 2002, and more specifically, the section that is similar to Supernatural, Hades chapter The Inferno, did not come out until February 2005. That's only 7 months before the release of Supernatural. Supernatural required development, scheduling, filming, etc., so it could have very likely taken more than 7 months, but you never know. Any last-minute additions could be added on set during filming, and that would be after Inferno was released. Furthermore, Supernatural didn't actually reach its 5th season climax until 2009-2010. By then, Saint Seiya Hades chapter had already been concluded by over a year. Perfect timing for the Hades possession of Shun to influence the Satan possession of Sammy. Eric Kripke has also admitted many of the show's aspects were developed season by season, which means he could have easily seen Saint Seiya's Hades chapter before Supernatural's 5th season. And if people believe that those dates are still too close to actually be an influence, don't forget that the Saint Seiya manga, which told the exact same story as the anime, ran in 1986 and concluded in 1990, so the story was already out there. And we already know Eric Kripke is a fan of comic books. He has gone so far as to say that Supernatural was inspired by Neil Gaiman's The Sandman comic book from Vertigo Comics. It becomes particularly clear when you compare DC's Constantine to the Angel Castiel. So if he could be inspired by American comics, who's to say he wasn't inspired by anime or manga? And considering they made an anime of Supernatural, it's pretty safe to assume he likes anime as well. But again, who knows for sure either way. Anyway, so tell us what you think in the comments below and let us know. Do you think Supernatural is a ripoff of Saint Seiya? Or was it just inspired by Saint Seiya? Or do you think this is all just a coincidence and there is no relation between the two whatsoever? And regardless of what you do conclude, if you like one, just know you might like the other one too. I personally love both franchises and you might as well. So check them both out. Oh, and real quick, on a completely irrelevant note that has nothing to do with being a ripoff or not, both shows have excellent soundtracks. Till next time. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for future content.